Congressman John Lewis of Georgia, the Democrat, the legendary civil rights leader. All right, you see the parade. It's continuing, Anderson, down Pennsylvania Avenue, not very far away from where we are. In fact, right now, we're high above this parade route.
Remarkable to see all these military platoons, the Army platoons, Marines, the Fife and Drum Corps, Commander-in-Chief's Guard. We don't get to see this sort of thing very much in this country, but it is always remarkable when we're able to.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but continue our special coverage. There it is, the presidential limo inside Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, the First Lady of the United States. Actually, we're not going to take a quick break. We're going to continue our coverage. You see this parade route moving down. They're coming, they're approaching where we are here at the museum on 6th and between 5th and 6th on Pennsylvania Avenue. Soledad, John Lewis lived to see this moment, and we all remember what he went through, and it really wasn't all that long ago, within the lifetime, not only his lifetime, but a lot of people's lifetime right now who are watching. Remind our viewers what he went through.
Yeah, you know, he told us yesterday that he didn't think he'd be able to make it through the ceremony without crying, and he has been crying really the entire weekend. Of course, he was a pioneer in the civil rights struggle, a close associate of Martin Luther King Jr., beaten brutally, really committed himself to fighting segregation, but also, you know, some of his words have been echoed by some of the young people who are so excited to be part of this parade. Told me the same thing. I don't think I can march in the parade without crying. I'm going to try to make it through. It's been really exciting. I mean, you think that there's some 1,300 applicants, 3 times the number usually for inaugural parade. That's really exciting. So it's a nice connection between the past and the present, the young people who are out here today and all these marching bands, and some of the old-timers who've had a chance to really remind the younger people of their history, because I think a lot of people forget who these civil rights icons are.
Don Lemon is one of those young-timers, the generation born well after John Lewis was beaten and Dr. Martin Luther King delivered that I Have a Dream speech. But you're living through, you're enjoying the benefits of what they did.
Absolutely, and any African American who has succeeded in this country and society, we, do it on the backs of those people who have done that. I just want to read, Wolf, an email from a viewer. It's very quick. And it says to Don Lemon, when the cameras focused on the motorcade that read USA 1 with Barack Obama in it, it felt so surreal. I cannot stop crying. I feel my struggle and march with MLK and Reverend Jimison from Mount Zion Baptist Church in Baton Rouge, along with students from Southern University. It was all worth it. So that's a sentiment that's coming off of that today.
David Gergen, it was all worth it indeed, because this is a moment so many people wanted to see, so many people thought they'd never see.
Absolutely, and John Lewis is in the forefront of that. He wrote a memoir 2 or 3 years ago that's very worth reading by the younger generation about his experiences. And he was just a young man, but he was an organizer of the March on Washington in 1963, and he was given a place on the podium to speak. They limited how long he could speak. They gave him 5 minutes, but he gave a terrific speech. That was in 1963, and of course in 1964, he was in Selma. And he got his head beaten in. He had a concussion on the Pettus Bridge.
You think about how young they all were. I mean, Martin Luther King Jr. was 26 years old when he started organizing the bus boycott in Birmingham, Alabama. Which
Fred Gray was 24 years old when he was representing Rosa Parks and bringing that case to national attention.
That's what the spirit that they're rekindling now. These young people out here want to be that new generation of young leaders.
The President of the United States, Barack Obama, and the First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama, in that car, that limousine. They're moving down Pennsylvania Avenue. They're heading towards that reviewing stand over there at Lafayette Park outside of the north portico of the White House. We'll continue our coverage of the inauguration of Barack Obama in just a moment. All right, the parade is now moving down Pennsylvania Avenue, not far from where we are, making its way over to the White House. The President of the United States in that limo, surrounded by U.S. Secret Service agents. They're making sure that everything is safe and sound as it is. This has been a remarkably calm and peaceful day, even though millions have come to Washington to honor this new President of the United States. Tom Foreman is going to show us the route that the president and the parade, the motorcade, are taking right now, and you'll better understand what's going on at the bottom of your screens.
Hi, Wolf. When you look at the map right now, they're right at the corner of Constitution in Pennsylvania right now. The blue dot right there is this parade. The whole route, this yellow line from the Capitol to the White House over here, is only about 1.5 miles, but it will feel like an eternity. It could take up to 2 hours to do the entire length. Along this way is where you'll see many members of the public. They'll come to our location where you are, Wolf, at the museum shortly. They'll come on down closer to the middle of town here, where they will turn and they will head right up here to the edge of the south lawn of the White House. This gets very tight in this area. Lots of people getting in that last moment of watching the parade. Then they'll come up and turn right in front of the White House. And there, that last little stretch is where they'll come to that official reviewing stand that we've seen many times. That's where the president will get off, and he will get into the reviewing stand to watch the remainder of the parade. And there are dignitaries there right now watching the parade coming, eagerly awaiting for his arrival. Wolf?
All right, thanks very much, Tom. There it is, Anderson. The presidential limo moving slowly, very slowly down Pennsylvania Avenue, and everyone is wondering as they watch this limo go forward, when will the President of the United States decide to go outside with the First Lady and wave to all those people who have gathered and have come to Washington, D.C.?
For the folks who are waiting for this and have been waiting for many hours, it is moving too slowly. For the folks who the president is just passing by, it is probably moving too fast. They want to try to savor the moments they can seeing Barack Obama, President Obama, for the first time he's riding in this vehicle as President of the United States.
We're joined now by a special guest. The Reverend Jesse Jackson has come up here to join us. Welcome, Reverend Jackson.
Dotson one, much faster.
That's right.
How do you feel about what's going on in our country?
This is a seminal moment. There is abounding joy. There are those who feel achievement, those who feel accomplishment, those who feel redemption, and all these emotions are converging. And yet today I thought in his address that he was warning us that while it's high noon in our politics, it's midnight in our economy. And therefore some measure of sacrifice and time and effectiveness must be given time to take place. I thought he kind of balanced it off.
You can see through the windows of that presidential limousine, the president, the first lady, they're waving as they go by. They got those broad smiles, which is totally understandable that they've reached this moment, a dramatic moment in our history. Did you break down, Reverend Jackson, and cry a little bit when he became president?
If I would have cried, my eyes would have turned icicles, so my heart bled instead. It was, to me, I was listening to him speak, and I could not help but think about the journey to get there. And it is that journey that makes this such a huge moment for America and for the world. I mean, people today in France and England and Africa, people invest so much hope in President Barack Obama. And because our economic crisis is so severe, we've not seen the bottom of it yet. And because wars are breaking out like epidemics, he's going to need all of that trust in his bank, in his trust bank, to pull together the coalition to make it happen. And so a lot is invested in him, and I think that together we're equal to the task. At least to not come in, he comes in with a down economy, but he comes in with a banker with will that's almost unparalleled.
The expectations, as you know, are enormous right now, and he's got a full plate of the most important issues awaiting him. Not just tomorrow, today, right now. Well, national security issues, a horrible economic situation. Can he deliver?
Well, that's why I said, you know, Chicago, November 4th was the engagement. Today was a big wedding, and then the marriage has begun. But needs enough of honeymoon to get his house in order. But I'm convinced that Democrats and Republicans, we have a shared interest in reviving our economy. This does take us above partisanship, at least for a moment. We have a shared interest in this India-Pakistan tension, both the nuclear weapons. The Gaza crisis is upon us. And so I think that because of all of this, he has some time.
Stand by, Reverend Jackson. We're going to continue our coverage. The inauguration of President Barack Obama will resume right after this. To our viewers in the United States and around the world, you're in the Situation Room right now. We're continuing our coverage of the inauguration of Barack Obama. We want to welcome our viewers. I'm Wolf Blitzer here atop the roof at the museum. You're looking at these live pictures of the presidential motorcade making its way down Pennsylvania Avenue toward the White House, where crowds have gathered all along the way. Lots of excited folks standing by to get a glimpse of the President of the United States, and we're all wondering at what point will he actually get out of that limousine together with the First Lady, Michelle Obama, and start walking a little bit and waving to some lucky people who will get an opportunity to get a quick glance of the first couple. Anderson Cooper is here helping us with our coverage. Anderson, you know, it's been a remarkably historic day, a little bit tempered, at least right now, by the breaking news that we've been covering that Senator Ted Kennedy apparently had a seizure in the middle of that luncheon up on Capitol Hill and was rushed to a local hospital.
That happened about an hour and a half ago. We're trying to get an update on his condition. His seizure was said to be rather lengthy. Even he was seizing as he was taken away in a wheelchair. But Senator Orrin Hatch, a close friend of his, though he is a conservative, and of course, Senator Kennedy is a liberal Democrat. Orrin Hatch saw him being loaded into the ambulance, and Senator Kennedy kind of smiled a little bit to him. Orrin Hatch saying he thought that was a sign that perhaps the senator would be okay. So we certainly hope that is the case. Barack Obama gave some short thoughts towards Senator Kennedy, but this is a day of tradition, a day which moves forward despite that problem.
And we're just getting late minute reports that seems to be doing a little bit better. He's been speaking to his family, Senator Kennedy, and we of course only wish him the best. Soledad O'Brien is here helping in our coverage as well. David Gergen, our senior political analyst. We have a special guest, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, who is here as well. You know, we've been seeing a bus, Reverend Jackson, and I want to see if we can get that shot. It's a metro bus along this parade route. It looks to me, and you know a lot better than I do, once we show our viewers this bus, if we have a picture, you'll see it at some point, of a bus that was involved in the Deep South, in Birmingham, perhaps, back in the 60s in the Integration Civil Rights Movement. Are you familiar with this, Reverend Jackson?
Not here, but the great victory, of course, in Montgomery was about the Montgomery bus boycott and public accommodations. It took us 9 years to win that battle. So in some ways, it is Dr. King honored yesterday, the prophet, Barack Obama, the president today, this kind of prophetic presidential connection. To me, that symbolism, that calculation is a kind of embrace of the civil rights struggle that made his victory possible.
It's a bus that commemorates, recalls the civil rights era. That's what we're told about this bus.
But you can draw a line from Dr. King at the Lincoln Memorial to Barack Obama on the west side of the Capitol.
Well, one popular line is the day we spoke in Washington, he spoke in Washington, D.C. was on the military lockdown.
Hold on a second. Hold on, guys. It looks like something is happening in the front of the car. That one of the Secret Service agents has decided to get out. And now let's look and let's listen. Take a look. Candy Crowley is there. She's right on the parade route. You can see what's going on, Candy. You've got an advantage over all of us because you're moving along together with them.
Absolutely. Obviously, you see both of them out now waving. I have to tell you, the minute they got out, this crowd went crazy. It's, boy, maybe 12 deep where we are at this point. They're beginning to pick up the motorcade a little bit. I don't know if you can tell. He's walking at a pretty crisp pace at this point.
Candy, I'm gonna interrupt you, Candy, because unfortunately we're having a really hard time hearing you. The crowd there so loud, understandably so. We're going to come back to Candy shortly, but look at this. This is the President of the United States. This is the First Lady of the United States. Reverend Jackson is here with us. You see this picture going out not only to our viewers here in the United States, but around the world on CNN International. Reverend Jackson, it sends a powerful message.
This is a similar moment. Dr. King's speech was not so much about the dream, it was about the broken promise of a day like this. He dreamed it would happen, and it's happening, and we all seem to feel so good about this moment. They represent America already so very well here and around the world.
It's amazing indeed, and you know what? The weather has cooperated, Anderson, to help us better appreciate this historic day. It might be a little chilly out there, but it's sort of sunny and nice. No rain, no snow, no bad weather effects.
Because it's not in Chicago, that's why.
Let's listen into the crowd.
incredible moment. The gentleman on the flag.
Rushed him to the hospital.
President Obama, First Lady Michelle Obama, there looks like they're getting ready to go back inside that limousine. They walked a few blocks. I assume he had pretty comfortable shoes, although Soledad O'Brien, she's walking in those heels. May not be all that easy walking down Pennsylvania.
Feeling a thing but joy, even in high heels, to be waving to those crowds. But I'll tell you, David Gergen let out a giant sigh of relief when they got back in the car and Reverend Jackson clapped. You were very anxious.
Very anxious. I must tell you, I thought that took a lot of courage for the two of them to do that. The Secret Service cannot provide 100% protection in a situation like that.
7 minutes and 20 seconds.
My sense was that they were walking, a considerable part of that walk was among federal buildings, where they do have a lockdown.
But not necessarily on both sides of Pennsylvania Avenue. On one side, there are federal buildings. I'm pretty familiar with that area. On the other side, a lot of office buildings.
I mean, while there are these adoring crowds, there are others who are really angry and who are frightened. Their fears are unfounded, and there's no basis for the anger, but they are that way. And we have such a history of violence.
So just watching that, you felt concerned?
Yeah, we should be risk on the side of caution. He now is the single most powerful, visible man on earth. And so a few waves are very risky in that kind of exposure.
Well, you can't talk about hope and looking forward and the promise of a nation and not get out of the vehicle. You have to get out of the vehicle, and he did much longer than I thought he would.
And you know what? He's now the President of the United States. The Secret Service will give him recommendations. They'll give him advice. But in the end, the decision is his. And if he says, you know what, I want to get outside of this limo and walk a few blocks, they'll say, yes, sir. They may try to discourage him, but they'll say, yes, sir.
It's great optics. You know, it really looks good, and he's that kind of Harvard basketball player. He's that kind of courageous kind of fighter. But in these coming days and now years to come, a lot must change in terms of even appreciation of danger.
Well, you're right. He's president. He makes a decision, but it's a risk. And I must say, I think to go to Soledad's point, I think he showed a lot of courage and showed that he's willing to live up to his own convictions.
You can't urge everybody else to do the hard work. And again, you know, we talked about that presidential bubble that he now fully enters, but he's going to have to figure out ways to crack through that bubble because, as he talked about with his BlackBerry to John King, you've got to reach out to the people who helped put you there.
We've been speaking a lot about that moment that occurred when he was sworn in as President of the United States, and we had invited people who were in the crowd to take a picture and send it to us. John King is standing by. He's got a much richer version now of that photo synth, that dramatic shot of Barack Obama being sworn in. John, show it to our viewers.
It is remarkable, Wolf, and we are grateful to our viewers for helping us out with this groundbreaking technology. We showed you this scene earlier. We call it the moment because Barack Obama is taking the oath of office. This is a wider shot. You see, here he is up here. You can't see him yet. You see the stand. You see these people down here. Now, I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer. See, we're going to come in down here, and I'm going to pull this down a little bit so you can come up here. And then we come in closer right here. And here we go. If you pull this out, let me come up closer still. And we can come in. We can zoom in on... Look at this when we stretch this out. Right here. Look at his hand on the Lincoln Bible. Right here, the hand on the Lincoln Bible, Barack Obama's hand raised up. He's taking the oath of office. He is the 44th president of the United States at this point, a magical moment in the history of the country. And we've been talking today also about a troublesome moment, Senator Kennedy being taken away from that luncheon with a seizure. Well, look at this. Look just over the president's shoulder and the family's shoulder. Here's Michelle Obama. Here's the Speaker of the House. This is Senator Kennedy right here in the photos. And if you move around, remember, this is a collage of hundreds, even thousands of photos have come in now. You see Senator Kennedy smiling here when we click to another photo. If I touch over here, you'll see him again over the shoulder. You see a different expression. This is the senator's son, Congressman Patrick Kennedy here. If you touch over here, you move over a little bit here, you see the big smile on Senator Kennedy's face, how happy he was to be here for this historic moment. As we look through these photographs again, and Wolf, they have come in the thousands. I want to tell you someone else. We haven't found her in our photos yet, but we're looking for her. But she's joined us now. Up there for this magical moment was Donna Brazil. Donna, you were right up close, closer than any of our group. Tell us what it was like.
John, it was one of the most important moments of my life. I was seated right next to the entrance where all of the VIPs came to the platform, and I had great seats, compliments of Senator Feinstein and Speaker Pelosi, and I was able to take great pictures of all of the dignitaries. But beyond just being there, I just felt the weight of history. I felt generations of people who struggled to see this day, and it was just so special to see members of Congress, dignitaries from all over the world seated together cheering the new president on.
You mentioned earlier you saw Clarence Thomas, a conservative, but the first African-American on the Supreme Court, sitting up there as well.
I had a brief chat with him as he walked down the stairs, and we shook hands. He's from Georgia. I'm from Louisiana. I said, Louisiana's in the house. He said, Georgia's in the house. But later I saw him when President-elect Obama was speaking, and I don't know if he was yawning, if he was tired, but he was dabbing his cheeks, and it was a very special moment for all of us on that stage today.
More of your thoughts in a minute. I want to take our viewers back just to show you the synth one more time. Now, how are we doing this? We have much more detail now because viewers are helping us out, and this is how we do it. These pictures are coming in by the thousands, Wolf, and you have a common point of reference. You see the flags on the Capitol in this photograph here? Well, guess what? They're also over here. And the synth computer hooks them all up by point of reference. So you start in tight, you pull back out more, you pull out more. You can get a perspective, excuse my arm, looking at the Capitol from this side. And, of course, you can get right in up close as well as Barack Obama takes the oath of office and becomes the 44th president of the United States. Sometimes you can get a little too close, as you see there. But this is the collage. This is how it all began. Viewers sending these photos into the moment at CNN.com. And, Wolf, I believe now Tom Foreman's going to help explain to us, and you're going to get to him just exactly how we're doing this.
Right, John. Tom Foreman is standing by. He can tell our viewers who want to participate in this and want to see this remarkable photography that's going on, three-dimensional. Tom Foreman is going to show us that, but just in a moment, he's getting ready for that. These are live pictures you're seeing from the reviewing stands here at the Pennsylvania Avenue. This parade continuing down Pennsylvania Avenue, making its way over to the White House.
And if you're watching this, wherever you're watching this or watching it online, if you have photos that you were on the mall from any angle of the Capitol, send them to us at themoment@cnn.com. You can also actually view the photo on cnn.com as well. We'll have a lot more about that coming up with Tom Foreman. But again, the crowds are just cannot be any more excited here.
No, yeah, especially during those 7 minutes plus when he was out of the car together with the First Lady. They walked a little bit, smiled broadly. You can only imagine all those folks on both sides of the street, how excited they are. I think Tom Foreman is ready now to show us how people can go take a look at this remarkable collection of photographs, thousands of them that have come together to give us a unique vantage point of what we're calling the moment.
Yeah, Wolf, this is a terrific thing that you can do at home, and that's what makes this so interesting. Go to CNN.com, go to the politics section, look up the moment, and you will see things like you've never seen before. Look at how you can zoom in on this. You can do this right at home. Look, here's a guy with a camera who is helping take some of the pictures that we relied on for this very project. But as you move in and you look at the project and you look around, one of the most fun things you can do is explore on your own to see things that otherwise you would never see. Here's Barack Obama smiling as he gave his speech. As we move up into the crowd a little bit, you get a better sense of who is watching him and how they were reacting to things. Go through the crowd and sort of look out for people who you might find, who you might be interested in. Let me make this come up full size so you can see this all the way. You see this crowd over here? I'm going to bring this image up, and I'll zoom in just like you can zoom in at home. And then you can just look through the faces and see who's out there. And as you move down through the crowd, you might be surprised who you find. In this case, look, it's actor John Cusack, a big Obama supporter. Over here is Steven Spielberg. Next to him, Kate Capshaw. And if you move all the way down the road down here to where we get into the area where many of the governors were as they were watching this event, look who else we find down here. We zoom in and we find, here's Governor Charlie Crist down here, Governor Kathleen Sebelius, and just in front of them, if you look very carefully, I don't know if I can get him to come up here where you can easily see him, right there is Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. Get into this picture and look around. It'll let you feel closer to it than you've ever been, and you can do it right from your own desk. Wolf?
And the way to do it is to go to CNN.com/themoment, and you too can see all of this. I'm seeing these live pictures. There's the Vice President, Joe Biden. He's continuing to walk outside his limousine down this parade route. Earlier, we saw the President and the First Lady walk outside for about 7 minutes and 20 seconds. We were trying to take a closer look at that, but Joe Biden is now walking. He's one happy guy, I got to tell you, Anderson. And there's the presidential limo inside the President and the First Lady.
Reverend Jackson, who's our special guest joining us here. It was interesting. Someone came up to me in the mall yesterday and pointed to a button on there which said the new first family, and it had the entire Obama family. And they kept saying, pointing to it, just saying, you sort of wonder in their expression, this is the new first family. Do you think it's really sunk in? The full impact of what all this means?
It's getting there, you know. There is just the esteem from overcoming such odds, really, in such a relatively short period of time. All the symbolism, like the steps on the Capitol built by slaves, and they couldn't walk up the steps, that kind of stuff. Blacks, the only cook in the White House, could not sit there except as a guest. That kind of stuff is so it's esteemed for so many people. But I saw many grandparents and grandchildren today. Kind of, before I die, I want to see that type thing. But beyond the esteem, there was also the sense of redemption, where others felt that this was their thing. If I've ever seen a multicultural, multiracial event that would share the excitement it was today.
All right, hold on, guys. I'm going to continue our coverage of this parade. They've now made a right turn, the motorcade, off of Pennsylvania Avenue onto 15th Street. They're going to be moving up 15th Street and then making a left over to Lafayette Park in front of the White House. We'll continue our coverage. We're here in the Situation Room. We're watching all of this for you, together with you, to our viewers in the United States and around the world. Our coverage of the inauguration of Barack Obama will continue right after this.
Joe Biden. They get right up on us. They give him a great big greeting.
We're back here in the Situation Room. We're monitoring what's going on Pennsylvania Avenue as the motorcade continues its way toward the White House. The President of the United States and the First Lady, they got out a little while ago, walked a bit. We're waiting to see if they get out of that limousine once again before they get to the reviewing stand at Lafayette Park outside the north portico of the White House. If they do, you can imagine, Anderson Cooper, how excited that crowd is going to be.
It was interesting to see both the President and Vice President getting out of their limousines at the same time. I was a little bit surprised at that, that they would both allow them out at the same moment.
I was really surprised about that. It kind of makes you a little nervous, and I was particularly surprised that Joe Biden kind of just popped out of his
Well, I was surprised when Barack Obama and Michelle got back into the car that the Bidens didn't get back in. Kept on walking. That was like, whoa.
If you're Joe Biden, you want to savor. This has been a long time coming. You don't want to let it pass up.
came in fourth in Iowa, right?
If you see that limousine, you see the license plate USA 1. All right, they're opening the door once again. You know what that means. We've seen this before. He's about to open the door, and Barack Obama and we assume Michelle Obama will walk out of that limousine and get ready for an excited crowd once again. And you know what? Let's listen in.
Vice President Joe Biden. Dr. Joe Biden.
By the way, that bus that you're seeing going before the reviewing stand outside Lafayette Park, that's what's called the Rosa Parks bus. It's a bus commemorating Rosa Parks' refusal to give up her seat on a city bus in Birmingham, Alabama, back in 1955. That bus recreated here, restored for this special event. It's a 1957 Maryland Transit Administration GMC bus. Was donated to Metro in 1990, restored for Metro's 30th anniversary here in Washington in 2003. And it's appropriate that that bus is here in this parade on this day. Donna Brazil, when you see that bus and you see Barack and Michelle Obama, the president and the First Lady of the United States, I suppose you're getting rather emotional.
When you're seated behind John Lewis and you're staring at Dorothy Height and you see Martin Luther King III and Christine Ferris and so many icons of the civil rights movement, it was an incredible experience to share the platform with them this morning. They were all weeping. And when Reverend Joseph Eccles Lowry, Dr. Lowry, gave the benediction and began to recite parts of the Black National Anthem, people just openly wept and cried because finally there's one America, there's one story, there's one narrative. And I think today represents that long struggle, that journey that took place for centuries of a people who just wanted to be free and be American.
It's really an amazing sight how happy they are and how happy millions and millions of people around the country are, and indeed around the world. Donna, when you look back on the improbable route that Barack Obama took to this day, what's the most dramatic moment that you bring back? Because it was only a few years ago he was a state senator, then a very, very junior senator from Illinois.
Well, I think in looking back at his journey, Barack Obama, decided early on in life that he wanted to serve, that he wanted to be part of the future. And he made a decision that he wanted to help lift people up, inspire them to help themselves. And I think from the moment he made that decision after leaving college, before entering law school, that he wanted to be part of a larger dream, that moment led us to this day. This was an incredible campaign, as you well recall, because Barack Obama inspired a new generation to serve. He also called upon the American people to come together. And today, in listening to his inaugural address, what I heard the president say to us is that this is our moment, this is our time, and that as we face the many grave challenges, we must do it as one people.
You know, David Gergen, as Donna speaks, I'm reminded of some of the words he used not only today, but on Sunday when he went to the Lincoln Memorial. You know, it was just an all-powerful reflection of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the national holiday we all celebrated yesterday, culminating with this swearing-in ceremony today.
I think one of the things, Wolf, that has characterized him, and it's so unusual for a political leader, is the consistency of his message. One of the major turning points in his political life actually came at the Democratic Convention in 2004. And essentially, that catapulted him onto the national stage. Everyone suddenly became aware he was not only running for the Senate, but this was a star. It was a rising star. And the message he had in 2004 is the same message he now had today in this inaugural address.
Unity.
About being one nation, one people. We're not a red America, we're not a blue America, we're the United States of America.
And earlier, you talked about how it wasn't a speech that sort of reached high, didn't soar, and I know Jeff Toobin felt it was a little bit disappointing, but I think that he did what he had to do in terms of reaching every single person, underscoring as many experiences that are American experiences, even though we all at some point have come from somewhere else. He managed to make that message, and you're right, there's not a quotable line, I think, but it's that patchwork quilt he talked about.
But he clearly reaches people.
Yeah,
Just look at the people on this road. It's connected.
But it's not quotable.
It's also noted that he didn't have to soar rhetorically above the moment because the moment was so great in and of itself.
Jeff Toobin and Suzanne Malveaux are down by Lafayette Park where the first family has just walked by. We can hear, Jeff and Suzanne, the crowds. Did anyone anticipate they would actually be walking this long?
I'm sorry, it's pretty noisy. Can you try again?
That's all right. Don't worry about it. It is obviously...
I think they're pretty excited over at Lafayette Park. The President of the United States, the First Lady, the Vice President, and Jill Biden, they're all out there. They're getting ready to go into that reviewing stand. Jeff Toobin and Suzanne Malveaux are right across the street from that reviewing stand, but they're now going back into that limo
and then
first.
They're going to drive around to the back of the reviewing stand, which they've already passed by, and then they'll take their places where they'll review the rest of the parade. And where we are, the museum, the parade has already well underway. A number of marching bands are passing by here around near closer to the Capitol. So the First Family will have an awful lot of groups to watch, some 10 to 13,000 people taking part in this parade, 90 different groups from all around the country.
And these, a lot of them young kids who have worked really, really hard to be able to come to Washington. They've raised a lot of money to do so. Hasn't been easy. There it is, the motorcade, USA 1. Jill Biden and Joe Biden, they're still outside. They're continuing to walk as this motorcade makes its way over to the White House. They'll be going into that reviewing stand. And then all of these performers, all of these bands, and all of these groups will have a chance to entertain the new president, the new First Lady, the new Vice President, and Jill Biden herself, Gloria Borger.
I was thinking as they're walking down the Pennsylvania Avenue, this is the last time that they're going to be able to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue for a long time because they're about to go into that gilded cage David spoke about. And
they've just made that left turn off of Pennsylvania Avenue onto 17th Street. They're going to go back through the south lawn of the White House. Then they'll walk outside to the reviewing stand. He might go through the Oval Office as he goes from the south side of the White House to the north side of the White House. All right, our special coverage of the inauguration of Barack Obama, the new president of the United States, will continue here in the Situation Room right after this. There they are. That's the south portico of the White House. And we're back here. Our special coverage of the inauguration of Barack Obama continuing in the Situation Room. The President of the United States, the First Lady, they are now back at the White House. First time they're coming to the White House now as President and First Lady. They're going to go through the White House, through the south entrance of the White House. I don't know if they're going to spend some quality time in the Oval Office, go to the residence, what they're going to do. They can do whatever they want there. They're the President and the First Lady. But at some point, they will emerge from the north side of the White House, the north portico. They'll walk across the north lawn, going out to the reviewing stand that's been built right outside. There you see the north lawn of the White House. At the bottom of your screen, you see the reviewing stand. They'll go in there to watch this beautiful parade. The thousands who have come to Washington to participate in this celebration, a new president of the United States. Soledad O'Brien is with us as well.
Last time I interviewed Barack Obama, he was in his Senate race in Illinois, and it was tightly contested Senate race. And people would stop him on the street on bicycles, and he was just out and about walking around. And it's such a difference to today where never again will anyone bicycle up to Barack Obama to say hey and shake his hand. As of today, he is inside that White House and inside that bubble.
You can only imagine, Gloria, how he must feel and how Michelle Obama must feel. They are now in their new home for at least the next 4 years.
Well, they've had the move has been pretty easy, I would have to say, because they walk into the White House and their furniture has been moved in. And David and I were just wondering during the break whether, in fact, President Obama would stop in that Oval Office and pick up the note that George W. Bush has left for him to read before he goes to the reviewing stand, whether he'll sort of swing through the Oval. I would think he would.
What is that note? Is it advice?
It's traditional, just a traditional, and it's usually a brief note from the outgoing president, very personal advice to the incoming president. And they rarely see the light of day after that.
the Bush.
But they always leave. It's a very traditional. They always leave that note in the upper drawer of the Oval Office desk. The outgoing president for the incoming president, and I wonder what President Bush has told President Obama.
The outgoing press secretary often leaves for the incoming press secretary a bottle of whiskey.
You'll need it. There was an open letter to Malia and Sasha in the Wall Street Journal today from the Bush twins.
Oh, really?
Wrote a note about what they could expect and what they should hope and get out of their experience in the White House, calling this place, such a fabulous place to live and experience. And at the end, they say, basically the gist is have fun and remember who your father really is, not what other people tell you he is.
And of course, they took Sasha and Malia on a tour of the White House.
I thought it was interesting, David, that twice the president and the first lady got out of the limousine to walk a bit. I know you were worried both times when they did so, and you must be relieved that they're now in the warmth and security of the White House itself.
I am relieved. The Secret Service is extremely relieved. So far, this has gone without a hitch from their point of view. And Wolf, it was always expected, that last part, that they would walk, because that's a much easier place to protect. You've got essentially the Treasury Building on the left, and then you've got the White House grounds on the left, and you've got Lafayette Park on the right. And it makes it much, much simpler to protect. You just don't have many fewer opportunities for someone who may want to do him harm.
I guess we're waiting to see who's going to come out of that door at some point. I assume we're waiting to see the president and the first lady emerge to walk over to the reviewing stand at Lafayette Park, right outside the north lawn of the White House, and make their way over there. We'll see them at some point. They're considerably behind schedule, and it's the sun's going to go down pretty quickly now. So a lot of this parade that we're about to see will be done in darkness. There you see this magnificent reviewing stand that they build every 4 years outside the north lawn of the White House, and it is indeed magnificent. All right, we'll wait to see Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Our coverage here in the Situation Room of the inauguration of Barack Obama continues right after this.
Post-inaugural parties, Larry King Live, CNN tonight at midnight.
Welcome back. You're looking at live pictures of the White House. We anticipate the President of the United States will be walking out of the White House, the north side of the White House, heading over to the reviewing stand to watch this parade. We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room on this historic day, and a day that has seen a new president of the United States sworn in, a day where Barack Obama spent some time not only at a luncheon on Capitol Hill, but then making his way over to the White House and getting ready to watch this parade unfold. Soledad O'Brien is here with me as we watch and we wait to see the president and the first lady. They're getting ready to go out of the White House. They're freshening up a little bit after what's been an exciting day already, and we hope to see live pictures of them emerge from that door right there. I have to tell you, I've seen a lot of these inaugural events over the years. I know David Gergen has, Gloria Borger has as well. This time it's different, and it's not just because Barack Obama is the first African-American who's president, but it's different for some other reasons as well.
I think Colin Powell actually hit the nail on the head when he was talking to Wolf, when he said, it's a new generation also. And while we've been talking a lot about the fact that Barack Obama is African-American, there is a lot to talk about. Generationally, he's very different. The fact that the embrace of technology not only gave him a big lead in the race, but it also made him different. And I actually think there was a line about technology in his speech when he talked about the different ways. We may use different ways to get out information or something. It was a really, interesting line that to me sounded like a shout out to technology, if you will.
There is a passing of the torch generationally here, because when they had that lunch in the Oval Office, he was 15 years younger than anybody else of the former presidents. Both George W. Bush and Bill Clinton are 15 years older than he is, and one of the reasons he connects so well to the young is he's so much closer, both in age but also culturally. Yeah, he understands the music. He has the cultural signals, and he connects well. And I think that's one of the reasons he stirs there their idealism. His story is one that they can relate to more than they can relate to a George W. Bush story.
I think that's also politically what concerns a lot of Republicans, because a new generation of voters has been engaged. And very often where you vote the first time is where you end up voting 20 years from now. And I think that that Republicans are concerned that, in fact, he's engaged a whole new generation of Democrats here.
It was Tom Foreman who said that the website up already and already has streaming video. I mean, it's it's a good website. It's a different website. I mean,
I suspect that the crowd going to that White House website, the traffic will increase dramatically now that it's President Barack Obama's website at the White House as opposed to President Bush's website at the White House.
Right, and it'll be interesting to watch the next 2 or 3 days as they start making hard decisions, whether it's about Iraq or about the economy or about stem cell research, how they use that website to communicate and to govern and to keep this coalition moving.
The line from his speech, Wolf, is our challenges may be new. The instruments with which we meet them may be new. Right. You know, new instruments, new ways of communicating and dealing with, and old values is the next part of that speech.
But it's also, in a way, Reagan-esque. I mean, Reagan did it differently, but he went over the heads of Congress to the American people, spoke directly to the American people. Obama will do that too, but in a very different way, using technology. But
Wolf was interesting. Gloria was just reporting in how reality is intruding this afternoon with the stock market.
Down 365 points.
I mean, reality doesn't wait on inaugurations.
That's the reviewing stand on the north side of the White House, across the street from Lafayette Park here in Washington. You can see the little pool there. At some point, the President and First Lady will walk out of that door. You saw an honor guard and a path that has been created on the north lawn for them to walk. There it is right there. You see the blue carpeting that has been set there on the north lawn of the White House. They'll walk down there to the reviewing stand. They'll take a seat inside that glass protected area, and then have a front row seat to all these participants, 10 to 13,000 of them who have come to Washington to participate and to celebrate this new president of the United States. Once the president is in that reviewing stand, those seats that you see still empty, I'm sure they will all fill up with his invited guests in that reviewing stand right there. That's a beautiful scene indeed.
Well, we don't have any cameras by the West Wing, do we? We can't see if he's in that Oval Office.
No, we have no cameras inside. We have cameras all over the White House outside, but we don't have cameras, unfortunately, inside. We don't know what he's doing, but at some point, maybe we'll get a little briefing from the White House Press Secretary Robert Gibbs.
Accessibility, maybe CNN can just put a camera in the Oval Office.
No, CNN's good, but not necessarily all that good. We're going to continue. We're also getting word on a sad story that we were covering earlier in the day. Senator Ted Kennedy of Massachusetts, unfortunately, took ill. We don't know if it was a seizure, what it was, but he was rushed to a local hospital at that luncheon. He had come up to Capitol Hill to celebrate Barack Obama's inauguration. We're now told by his colleague from Massachusetts, Senator John Kerry, that Senator Kennedy is alert. He's in good spirits, expects to spend the night in the hospital, which is totally understandable. Senator Kennedy, according to Senator Kerry, his Irish is up. Which is encouraging to hear for all of us. That's good news, given the fact that Senator Kennedy, as we know, last year suffered a brain tumor, had surgery, and had seizures last year. Let's hope for the best. There you see the new Vice President of the United States and his wife, Jill Biden. They're walking towards the White House from the area of the old Executive Office building. They've wrapped up their participation in the parade, and they'll be joining the President and the First Lady in the reviewing stand as they go forward. I can only imagine, David, what Joe Biden is thinking right now. He's been in Washington for 35 years or so, and now he's the Vice President of the United States.
Well, you know, there was a moment when one wondered whether he really wanted to do this, but he's clearly loving it. I mean, he almost has a Teddy Roosevelt kind of quality. He's bouncing around today. He's got this huge grin on his face. He's enjoying every moment of this.
You know why? He doesn't have to commute anymore. He used to take the Amtrak home to Wilmington every night.
Well, that's right. Now, if he'd been the Vice President, he wouldn't be in that. I mean, if he'd been the Secretary of State, he wouldn't be in this parade.
That's right. That's right. He just lives
on
Massachusetts Avenue now.
All right, guys, as we watch Joe Biden and Jill Biden make their way to the reviewing stand, I want to go to Tom Foreman because he's got something we've been promising our viewers for some time that they would see. The first image from a satellite of what happened at that moment when Barack Obama became president. A remarkable shot indeed from space, Tom.
Yeah, Wolf, I think this may be one of the real shots of the day, the thing to look at. Look at this down on the ground. This is the mall. And these dark masses here that look like anthills down here are the enormous number of people that packed in around here. Over here, right up at the Capitol, you can see all the official seating up there. That's just all dark up in there. They're going to come in very tight on this picture so you can really see it. Every one of those dark, dark little specks there, those are all people. They're wearing all sorts of different colors, but they're all so packed together, it just looks like a mass of ants there. And as you move away from the Capitol down the mall, with each little place, you see another deep clustering of people right in there. Let's go back over to the Capitol for a minute. I'm going to walk right up here to the screen and show you. This is the Capitol right there. This is where Barack Obama was standing. And all of this is people, a solid mass of people. And as you work your way down, you start seeing more and more people gathered that way. You can see that they go in clusters here. At every road, they push forward to the barricade. Then you go back to the next one, they push forward. So it's just as dense back here as it is up there with these little gaps in between. Further back you go. And then here at the Washington Monument, look, two enormous clusters of people. Way back here, this is about a mile and a half.
Interrupt because here comes the president of the here comes the president and the first lady with Sasha and Malia. He's saluting the troops. He's now their commander-in-chief. They're going to the reviewing stand. What a beautiful family, what a beautiful shot. You take a look at those sweet little girls, Soledad, and you say to yourself, the country now has a new first family.
Oh, the country now has little girls to watch grow up. What a wonderful thing, I think, for us as a nation to get to experience the White House and all the great stuff about politics that sometimes the folks who are battling it out on Capitol Hill don't really get to experience. We'll get to see all that through their eyes. I think that'll be a really wonderful experience. And to see them grow up. I mean, what's better than watching a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old become young ladies? That'll be really fun, a real treat. And my kids, and I know so many others.
All right, let's see if we can hear what they're saying.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, First Lady Michelle Obama, and their children, Sasha and Malia.
So he's now in the reviewing stand. We see John Podesta there right in the middle. He's a former White House chief of staff, but he was leading the transition for Barack Obama. Invited guests, what a hot seat this is to be in the reviewing stand together with the president, the first lady, their two daughters, as this parade gets going outside the White House. I would venture to say, David, the hottest seat in town right now.
It's a very big honor to be in that. I've had the occasion to be there before, and it's one of those memorable experiences you just don't forget, being up in that reviewing stand. And I'm going to be curious now to see if that pilot of that U.S. air flight who was up on the platform this morning, that was a surprise. Whether he's the kind of person they'll have there. They'll have a lot of personal friends, and the John Podestas, people who helped to get them there, who deserve a place in that reviewing stand.
Gloria, they worked hard to reach this moment, and they're finally there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people who helped him get to this moment are going to be in that reviewing stand. And of course, you see the vice president over there. And I just keep thinking how different it's going to be to have children, young children in the White House. And we talk about the president living in a bubble. Well, kids keep you out of a bubble a lot of the time, and I think that's going to be so useful.
You know what's been nice to see when that big roar went up and cheer went up, you see the girls both break into big smiles, because that can be terrifying for a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old. That could be really scary, and you know, their faces will reveal that. And instead, big grins. I mean, they are so excited and so happy, and it sort of, you know, makes your heart leap that they could really enjoy this experience too, because they're going to be, the spotlight's on them now. It really is.
Some happy friends inside who've gathered there. There they are. You can see the daughters, the first family. They're having a little chat before some of the floats come, before some of those marching bands stop by to entertain the president. Let's listen in right now. This is the Punahou High School Marching Band from Honolulu, Hawaii. It's making its first appearance here in the inaugural parade. This marching band represents Barack Obama's former high school in Honolulu. Wow, this marching band has come a long, long way, and it's going to be it's performing right now for the new president of the United States, a graduate of that high school. Gloria, wow.
if you were watching before, Wolf, it was clear he's enjoying.
It's sort of a nice thing that both his high school is represented and also Michelle Obama's high school represented as well.
This high school gave him one of the big starts in life. It was a first-rate educational institution, and he wasn't a very good student, but he went there, he got a lot more serious.
They traveled almost 6,000 miles to get here to participate in this historic inaugural parade. There's 142 participants. They raised, obviously private money to do so. Founded in 1841, this high school is the largest independent kindergarten through 12th grade school in the nation. Wow, I didn't know that. Did you know that, David?
Yeah, his mom, he was living in Indonesia, and his mom sent him back to live with his grandparents in Hawaii, partly so he could go to this school. And she wanted him to get a good American, get a good education, and she obviously loves it.
He's getting into it.
Yeah, totally.
He's getting into it. This is now the Whitney Young Magnet High School that's coming from Chicago, from Hawaii, now to Chicago, his other home. This is the high school that's appearing in its first inaugural parade. The First Lady, Michelle Obama, is a 1984 graduate of Whitney M. Young Magnet High School. She went on from there to Princeton University and then the Harvard Law School. So this is her high school performing now. The young men and women are led by Senior Naval Science Instructor Lieutenant Gus and Naval Science Instructor Petty Officer Pierce. Their mascot, by the way, Soledad, the Whitney Young Dolphins.
It's great to see the little kids with a symbol trying to...
This is the Jesse White tumbling team. They've come from Chicago as well. They're making their third appearance in an inaugural parade. These guys are pretty good indeed. It should be a very nice performance for the new president, the new First Lady.
You say guys, but there are women there too.
Pretty cool stuff. John King has got some more images from the moment that we're talking about, that satellite moment that we have. John, show us what we have now.
Well, Wolf, as you know, Tom Foreman just showed us this remarkable satellite imagery. Using the magic map here, we can zoom in a little bit closer for you. I want to start with this image. This is the United States Capitol. Everybody can recognize that. And you'll notice, you see the grass out here. There are no people here. This is an image taken by the GOI satellite. This is back in late December. Now, I'm going to reach across here. Hopefully I won't get in the way. And I'm going to bring this forward to today. And watch the lawn here. This is now 11:19 this morning. See that? That is a full house on the grounds of the United States Capitol because Barack Obama is down here at this point. The picture gets a little grainy when you get in this close, but you see the Capitol, see all the people. Here's the reviewing stand out here and the crowds gathered. I'm going to shrink it down a little bit, and we're going to come out. He's taking the oath of office here and speaking in that inaugural address to the masses out here on the mall. And you see here's the reflecting pool just across from the Capitol. Again, you see a swarm of people here. Looks like a hill of ants, something like that, as Tom Foreman just said. Those are people there coming in from this GO1 satellite image. And as we go through this, more people down here as we come down the mall. We believe we are making history here in the sense of the fastest non-military turnaround of a satellite image, thanks to GOI and this satellite. Again, a swarm of people here as you come down the mall. You see the crowd there. And to make the point, I'm again going to go back in time here. This is December 19th, and you see the grass on the mall. Now we're going to come forward to 11:19 this morning as the ceremonies were getting underway up in the Capitol. We're going to come down the National Mall. Let me shrink it down a little bit so you see what we're looking at. Here's the Capitol up here. Here's the National Mall. And here, of course, in the center is the Washington Monument. And Tom showed us these, but we're going to take a closer look. They look like ants swarming to a piece of sugar. Well, the Jumbotrons are down here. These are all the people around the Washington Monument. The television screens are around the edge here. And as you can see, they're all gathering in one place. Some barricades in places as well. And again, now we're going to come back down. We're going to go further down the National Mall, all the way out here. This is the Lincoln Memorial. Now, some might have expected larger crowds down here when you get toward Lincoln. As you notice, there are some people gathered here, and again, the TV screens are here. And just for perspective, one more time, let's go back. This is late December. This is a normal day down here. You see some people walking along, but there are no crowds. Now we'll come forward, and you see these areas have filled in up here. Again, there are the big TV screens are here. Not as many people as here as some might expect. And Wolf, before I go back to you, I want to close this down. You know this real estate very well. You come to the Washington Monument. You head up this way, you get to Pennsylvania Avenue, and this is Barack Obama's new home. The south grounds of the White House here, the White House mansion right here in the middle, and at the moment, you're watching the first family watch the parade from this reviewing stand right out in front of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Pretty remarkable technology, Wolf.
It's amazing that we got that quickly. By the way, CNN.com is where you'll be able to see that satellite image as well as the photos, the dramatic image we took of that moment. We're watching the parade in front of the White House. The first state, you know what the first state is. That would be Delaware, David Gergen. Is that right?
First state to certainly to ratify the Constitution was Delaware. But Wolf, I'm curious from John King's report, does that give us any better sense of how many people might have been on the mall, how many people came to the inaugural? Do we have any estimates at all from anybody?
No, not yet, but we're working on it. This is the Paul Laurence Dunbar Senior High School Marching Band. They've come in all the way from Washington, D.C. A far ride from Dunbar High School to Lafayette Park here. This band has won many honors, many awards across the United States. Recently, the band won top honors for drumline and drum majors at the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida. Dunbar, by the way, is the first public high school in the United States constructed for African-American students, and they're now performing for the president. Our coverage of the inauguration of Barack Obama right here in the Situation Room will continue after this short break. The parade continues here in Washington in front of the reviewing stand at Lafayette Park outside the White House. The President of the United States and the First Lady, there's Joe Biden as well. They're in the reviewing stand. They're enjoying all of these participants who've come from as far away as Hawaii. There's the First Family, the entire First Family, the daughters, Sasha and Malia, and the First Lady, Michelle Obama. They're continuing the parade. Suzanne Malveaux and Jeff Toobin are right across from the reviewing stand. You've got a great view there, Suzanne.
We absolutely do. Well, really quite amazing to see. You can see directly into the reviewing stand the responses, reaction from the First Family. And also, there's been a lot of talk about this bubble that the Obamas will be in, but we've seen some faces, familiar faces of some friends from Chicago, Marty Nesbitt and his children, Eric Whitaker. These are really going to be critical to the family, to Barack Obama and his little girls, of course, to make sure that they have those visits with their friends from Chicago. They are going to be frequent visitors here at the White House. They made a decision not to actually move all of their families here, but they have been for years coordinating schedules for soccer games and plays and things like that. So it's those close family friends who are here sharing this moment that are so critical to this family and what they talk about, staying normal, being just a normal family with friends, close friends, and others. It's funny because in doing the documentary, the Obamas got a chance to meet a lot of his close friends, and they fondly call Michelle the taskmaster, the one who had that schedule organized and made sure that everything ran on time and kids got to school on time, that type of thing. And they have a whole community, a host of people who are here with them celebrating this moment, but also will be regular visitors and part of their community. That will remain.
Jeff Toobin, as you see what's going on, you've probably got a little different perspective.
It is, you know, one thing that has struck me, Susanna and I have been staring at this reviewing stand for several hours, and in this reviewing stand, you have some of the most powerful people in the country. You have the president, the president's family, the cabinet, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and I would estimate that about a third of the people on that reviewing stand are people of color, of one color or another. And you know, this is the changing face of America and the changing face of power. It's not just Barack Obama. The Bush reviewing stand looked nothing like this. And I think this is something that the American people and the world is going to see a different face of America for the next 4 or 8 years. And this reviewing stand is just a small preview of how different the face of America is going to look, and the face of power in America is going to look in the next few years.
And Wolf, it's interesting to note
yeah,
who's
go
actually
ahead.
here
They're pretty excited. I want to bring in Donna. Hold on, Suzanne. I want to bring in Donna Brazil, who's watching this this amazing scene as well. Donna, you know, you've got up really, really early this morning to go up to Capitol Hill. You had a good seat up there, and now you're watching this this parade go on in front of the White House. Later tonight, there'll be all the formal balls that will be going on. This is a long, long day, for not only for you, but for the country.
No question, Wolf. I want to tell you, when I finally arrived to the Capitol, I walked up and went through the Hart Building. I went underground because, of course, I know the shortcuts around Washington, D.C. The first person I laid eyes upon this morning was Senator Ted Kennedy. He was in such a great mood, of course. He was with his wife, Vicki. I actually walked through the tunnel from the Russell Building to the United States Capitol with Senator Kennedy. And I'll tell you, we did that before 9 a.m. this morning. So my thoughts and prayers, of course, is with Senator Kennedy. He was so enthusiastic. We talked about Bobby Kennedy, his brother, of course, and the fact that Bobby Kennedy back in 1968 saw this moment. He visualized this moment when he said that one day the nation would elect a black president, and he was so happy that I remembered that. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Ted Kennedy, to wish him well, and to hopefully get him back in the Senate tomorrow so he can confirm Senator Hillary Clinton.
Thank you, Donna, for that. Donna Brazil always has a unique perspective, Soledad. This parade is going on, and it's, I must say, they were behind schedule, but it's only just beginning. There's a lot of these participants coming forward.
And you can see already the sun's going down a little bit, and it's getting a little bit chillier, and they've got 13,000 people in this parade, so they've got a little ways to go. But, you know, if you go back to the girls and you watch their faces, you have Sasha leaned over as far as possible to take a look as she's really getting a kick out of the parade, Malia as well. So, you know, clearly, however long it goes is as long it goes, and everybody's going to enjoy it.
And we're going to enjoy it as long as it goes here in the Situation Room. Our special coverage of the inauguration of Barack Obama will continue in just a moment.
Coverage of the inauguration of Barack Obama is sponsored by ExxonMobil, taking on the world's toughest energy challenges. And by Sprint. Get more done with Nextel Direct Connect only on the Now Network. Go to CNN.com/44th President to watch highlights from the day's events. And send in iReports to share your thoughts on this historic inauguration.
There you see the mall, the U.S. Capitol behind the Washington Monument. Very few people left on the National Mall. You see those Jumbotron screens. They're showing the parade, but most of the folks have actually left the National Mall area. They've tried to make their way, some of them at least, to get a glimpse of this parade that continues. It's maybe just, you know, not even halfway through by any means. The Vice President and Jill Biden are there. The President and the First Lady are there. The daughters are there as well. It continues, and the entertainment continues as the sun goes down in Washington, Soledad.
Absolutely, and it's interesting for so many band members and others who came out. You know, they had to do fundraising, sometimes $50,000 to be able to get themselves here, put themselves up in hotels. And because of the large volumes of people that we've seen all day, some of these bands are staying 100, 120 miles away and had to bus in very early to make their morning call.
This is the Delaware State float that you just saw. Saw the former senator from Delaware, Joe Biden, now the Vice President. He's particularly proud of this float. The Delaware State float is a dramatic scroll presentation of the preamble to the United States Constitution. It's approximately 32 feet long, 10 feet wide, 16 feet high, art from various Delaware icons emblazoned around the float, incorporated into this float's design is the seal of the Vice President of the United States. That would be Joe Biden and his granddaughter right there, and there you see the President and the First Lady. We're getting ready for a lot of high school bands and floats, Don Lemon, as we see what's going on.
Oh, it's very interesting, just to finish up on what Soledad said. Getting the invitation to come to the parade was the easy part in some respects, because they had to raise so much money, and on some of these areas and schools with very limited funding and very limited budget. So once they got the invitation, they had to raise the money to get here and then stay hundreds and hundreds of miles away. So this is really quite a moment for them and quite an accomplishment.
You know, we saw that Constitution, the Delawareans were pointing out that big giant scroll. I mean, think of the number of times that Barack Obama has referenced the Constitution, a Constitution that said African Americans were 3/5 of a human being. I mean, the references to the Constitution and sort of where the Constitution didn't quite serve every American, but could be changed and morphed for everybody, to represent everybody fully. Come back to it again, even in this inauguration
parade. All right, now,
parade.
this is something really special that's coming up right now. The Tuskegee Airmen and Comfort Carriages. And I want to explain what this is all about. The Comfort Carriages coming in. They're making their first appearance here at this inaugural parade. Their horse-drawn carriages have appeared in parades across the capital region in the greater Washington, D.C. area, including the George Washington Parade of Alexandria, Virginia. The carriages are carrying the Tuskegee Airmen. The Tuskegee Airmen, as many of our viewers no doubt will remember, the nation's first group of African-American military airmen who flew with distinction during World War II as the 332nd Fighter Group of the U.S. Army Air Corps. They're marching in this, the 56th inaugural parade. 10 men will represent the group that are greatly influenced the integration of the United States military. Members of the Tuskegee Airmen marched in President Harry Truman's inaugural parade back in 1949. 2007, the group was collectively awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. And I'm happy to let our viewers know that many of those who survived, the Tuskegee Airmen, they've been invited here as the president's guests, including the father of Frederica Whitfield, our own CNN anchor, and she's here as a guest as well. Don, this is very exciting stuff. Who know the history of segregation and integration in our country.
I do, and we have a thing here called CNN Heroes, and they asked me who my hero was, and I said it was Mal Whitfield, who is Frederica Whitfield's father, because not only because of being a Tuskegee Airman, but his accomplishments in the Olympics as well, winning gold medals back in the 30s, and still alive and fortunate enough to still be around.
You know, you look at the order of this parade today. Hawaii, never really number one. Delaware, small state, and the Tuskegee Airmen.
All right, guys, hold on for a moment. We're going to continue to watch the First Family, the Vice President, and this parade. The coverage continuing here in the Situation Room. The inauguration of Barack Obama. What a day it's been. We'll have much more coverage right after this.